Like anything else, wielding free speech responsibly and effectively takes practice. And a public university is the place to practice just that. It was here at UVA that I was introduced to ideas which contradicted my own. I met people from all different backgrounds with all different opinions. We were forced to live together, work together, and in that process, learn to respect one another. I took classes which required me to share those opinions and bring them into collision with others. I was required to write about those ideas, write about ideas that were not my own. I was required to argue in favor of my ideas and argue in favor of ideas that were not my own. And thus, I understood both my ideas and ideas that were not my own. Public universities, both socially and academically, help to habituate young citizens to the practices and principles of responsible free speech. Free speech is important. Free speech is necessary. Free speech is integral, vital, paramount, and at risk.
With about 3/4 of college students in America attending or having attended a public institution, it is important that free speech is preserved. A university's function is to do two things. First, to conduct research to discern more knowledge, and second, to pass that and other existing knowledge onto its students. We know that as we discover more about the world, it usually just becomes more and more complex, thus making free speech more of a necessity. A university's function is to find truth, and allowing the proper critique of any findings is needed for that aim to be valid.
Ideas matter. Words matter. How we express ourselves as a people is a sign to the world. The question is whether or not we will show strength or weakness. Any restriction of the First Amendment on college grounds, in my opinion, will convey weakness. Universities have long been places for youth to gain exposure to ideas. Some students exit having undergone a political or ideological awakening. Others leave indifferent. The tie that binds them is that they graduated having heard all sides.
This, then, is why free speech is so important. Not because of natural rights, or because of the Constitution, or because of political tradition, though these might be good reasons. Instead, it is something more basic, pragmatic, and imperative. It is because the institutions which have the ability to chart the course of history must be ruthlessly and unequivocally questioned.
In the context of universities, it's the responsibility of leadership to protect free speech. Administration should allow controversial speakers, encourage dissenting opinions, and provide students forums to discuss hard topics. However, there's also a social shift that must occur to enliven the spirit of free speech, and that starts with students and professors. People must be patient with each other, assume good intentions, and be willing to question their own beliefs. Free speech has the power to open dialogue and create meaningful change, but only when it's embraced.
So, what does free speech mean at a public university? And why on earth am I talking about subways? What makes this question so crucial is its inclusion of one specific word, public. Despite often being placed in front of bland nouns like facility or sidewalk, the word public holds a lot of gravity. When something is deemed public, it dawns on the purpose of being open to all. Subways of New York embody this concept to the absolute fullest. Subways accept all, and therefore all feel they can express themselves there. Some people really take this to heart. Check out Subway Creatures on Instagram and you'll know what I mean. So in a way, a public university is just like the subway. Look around you. Doesn't this feel just like it?
This is why our democracy needs places like public universities. Sometimes we need to consent to quiet, to ground rules of respect and waiting our turn. It's how we learn to voice our opinion in a way that is truly valuable and productive. Agreeing to reasonably limit our speech now is the very thing that will prepare us for a lifetime of loud and impassioned presence in our democracy. We come to a public university when we're 18 and a little bit stupid. For at least a few short years of our lifetime, we transform ourselves by making the harder choice. It's not speaking, it's listening.
Now standing in the heart of a public university nationally ranked 6th for supporting free speech, I'm affirming the message that free speech is not important. We say we value free speech, but I have watched as democracy cries out as students sit idle when it needs it the most. We say we value free speech, but I have watched as communities reject those who defend it. We say we value free speech, but I have watched creativity dwindle to nothingness and creation become the joke for plagiarism to crack. We say free speech is important, but in public universities, it is our actions that show it is not.
The friction between good and bad ideas cultivates enlightenment. The same university that wouldn't enroll women or people of color until the 20th century also educated and encouraged the minds that created drinking water for millions via purifying tablets, invented one of the first male at-home fertility kits, and literally discovered the subatomic glue holding our universe together, the Higgs particle. That university is UVA. Students' freedom of speech has led to social and technical advancement on grounds in America and around the world.
And so I leave you with this. As you walk home tonight while exiting Mr. Jefferson's Rotunda, look to your left. Just about 500 feet away, you will see a section of the Berlin Wall. This wall once sealed away East Germans from a world where they could speak freely, talk to family, use voice for change. It is our choice if this wall will exist among us as a symbol of the past or a signal of our future. Do not seal our public universities away from the free country around them. Let public universities continue to refine our democracy, and let our democracy continue to shine as the light. Thank you.